Yo, what is going on, guys? So on today's episode, we have a video here of men refusing to help struggling modern women by Man Guide. So let's jump in, take a listen. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments.
I don't know what's happened over the last couple of generations, but men don't help women. They don't offer to hold doors and things of that nature. And part of that obviously is because radical feminists, have said, if you hold the door for me, you're implying that I'm weak. So it's not like it's just the fault of men.
Do you ever fear about like looking like a Karen, or do you think you ever overreact?
I literally wear a shirt that says Proud Karen to the airport.
Really?
I sell them.
Oh, so you go in there ready
I let people know, like, it's not.
And think about when you go to a bar, who's supposed to buy women drinks? Men are. Do you see that as often as like years and years ago? All costs.
I get all that, man. I have to protect.
Even when girls are fighting with each other, like, it is so ugly. It is the ugliest thing that there is men around and they're not doing anything.
But why do you think?
You gotta love how it's men's responsibility to, number one, buy women things, and number two, to break up fights between women. I'm sorry, I thought you were strong and independent. I love how all of this strong and independent rhetoric continues until violence breaks out, until something serious happens, or until, the bill comes or you want something paid. This is why a lot of men don't like to help struggling modern women. They're not interested in paying your bills. A lot of guys are not interested in relationships. They're not interested in dating you. This attitude here is exactly why. You're strong and independent. You want to be independent of men, but at the same time, you want men to help you where it suits you.
I think men don't do that anymore because they used to do that before. But why do you think they don't do that anymore? They stopped doing that.
Why do you think you're a man? You tell me.
First of all, good question. The reason I think, we don't do it anymore because you guys don't respect us anymore.
Okay.
Second, you guys don't need us anymore. I don't need a man. I'm a strong woman, independent. You're the independent, you're strong. What do you need me for? What do you complain to me not protecting when you already have everything that you want? I'm a boss. What do you need me for?
Okay, so buying women drinks is chivalry apparently. I always find it amusing how women will twist the definitions of words to suit their own desires and preferences. Is it any wonder that men aren't helping women anymore? For too long, men have been getting beaten over the head with feminist rhetoric telling them that any notions of traditional masculinity are ridiculous and that women don't need protecting. These days, if you even suggest that a woman might need your protection in some situations, you'll be accused of being a toxic masculine misogynist. We're constantly reminded that women aren't these dainty little creatures who need our help. We're constantly told that they can take care of themselves and that men are obsolete in today's society. Feminism has pushed this narrative for decades, and now it seems that the consequences of their actions are coming to haunt them. This is because men are no longer helping women. For decades, feminism has been saying that society doesn't need men. But now when men listen and refuse to help them, feminists are freaking out, attacking men for being childish man babies and asking where all the good men have gone. You drove them away, ladies.
Yeah, see, that's where all of this goes as well, right? Is when we don't get our way, when men don't provide for us, when men don't care for us, the strategy is straight into shaming language, right? There's no incentive for a lot of men to go out and do this for the average woman these days, right? If you want to say that you're a womanist and that you're strong and independent, well, don't be surprised when men come along and they treat you as though they're strong and independent, as though you're strong and independent, excuse me. You can solve your problems by yourself.
It's an evil world we live in.
Have you guys noticed that some of my videos have gone missing over here on YouTube? That is because I am slowly moving them over to locals where I can actually host them without the risk of getting in trouble. If you are not aware, many creators are starting to move over to places like locals, Rumble, etc. because YouTube is not really a free speech platform. So if you are interested in supporting the channel and getting access to videos that are no longer available here, make sure that you come and join us over on locals. The link will be in the video description down below. Supporters get access to their own exclusive videos that are no longer available to the public. So make sure you go to the link in the description and join us over there now. But anyway, guys, back to today's episode. Okay, and the thing is as well is that men go where they are appreciated. If you don't appreciate a man's effort, if you don't appreciate a guy who's actually going to help you out in situations, you know, don't be surprised when men aren't going to stick around. No dude wants to date a woman that has the attitude of a man. You know, like we don't find this whole, like, when you have a woman who acts incredibly masculine, it's not attractive. These 30-plus-year-old women who are still out here looking for men, they basically try and craft themselves into another man. Oh, look at all these PhDs I have. Look at how much money I have. And then they're surprised when men seriously do not care.
We really have a whole era of men that don't want to protect and provide. These men want women to go to work, come home, cook, clean up, tend to the kids, and pay half the bills while they just go to work and come home. As a man, you should be pouring into your woman, but instead you got her running on empty. A woman was never built to handle all those responsibilities, and a real man would never put her in a position to do so. He would take a lot of that weight off her shoulders, especially financially. He wants to protect you in all aspects of your life because he knows how powerful a woman is when she's not forced to be in her masculine energy.
This guy is an absolute simp. Okay, there are so many reasons why men are not doing this for women anymore, but I just dislike the use here of a real man. You know, here's what a real man does. A real man goes out there and he provides for a woman. He takes care of her, especially financially. This guy is just an absolute simp, man. Nobody's forcing women to be in masculine energy, by the way. I don't buy this whole thing of like, oh, there's a masculine woman, right? And men are supposed to bring out her feminine side. No, that's just absolutely ridiculous. Imagine if this was reversed, right? And you had dudes saying, yeah, I'm feminine, but, you know, I'm just waiting for the right woman to bring out my masculine side. It's just absolutely insane. Okay, this guy thinks that he's going to get internet and brownie points. And to be fair, he probably is, right? Women are probably commenting on this going, wow, what a fantastic, you know, that's so true. Yeah. And again, these are the types of men, by the way, that women don't respect anyway, you know? So it is what it is.
A real man makes a woman's life easier so that she can flourish and be that loving, caring, nurturing queen that she is.
I don't know if this dude has met a lot of modern women, especially these womanists, but they're not nurturing, they're not caring, they're not loving, and they certainly aren't queens, okay? It's this guy insinuating that a lot of these women have these values is obscene to me.
I bet his comment section is full of single mothers. Some people are saying that men are failing because they won't help women. How can people honestly believe that? Society has been waging a war against men for decades, and this is the result. You can't expect to demonize an entire gender and then expect them to help you when you need it. Feminism had the opportunity decades ago to help create a cooperative climate between men and women. But instead, it chose to perpetuate the gender war, and society suffered for it. Instead of encouraging masculinity and reminding young men that being a competent and capable person is something the world needs, this society driven by feminism has done the opposite. It's told young men that their masculinity is something that needs to be repressed. And this is exactly what men did. How can you expect them to do anything else? Ladies, this is exactly what you asked for, isn't it? For men to just go away? But women don't like it because they almost never know what they want. This is one of the reasons why feminism should never have been allowed to run rampant, influencing our governments and institutions. Feminists told men to repress their masculinity. They did that. Feminists changed their mind and now they want me to come back and help them. Well, I'm sorry ladies, but it's far too late for that.
Have you ever seen those videos, and I'm going to speak to New York City, I come from New York City. Have you ever seen those videos that pop up from the subway where you'll see a woman being harassed on the subway by I don't know who, and there's a bunch of guys just sitting there watching and they don't do anything about it? Yeah. What do you think is causing that trend, particularly in cities like New York City and Los Angeles among men?
I think this whole teaching boys that they're equal to women and women that they're equal to boys doesn't help. I think that men, by and large, and this, if any man hears this and isn't just upset, I don't know what you are then, because men are just weaker than we were before. statistically speaking. When it comes to sperm count is down in men 60%. When it comes to testosterone, me as a 27-year-old man, I'm gonna have 36% less testosterone than a man in 1980. What is it, 1989?
Why is
so
that?
men have
Why?
been, because they're putting plastic in the ranch. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like we're eating fast
he's
food.
not wrong.
We're overly stressed. This is true.
Women used to have countless privileges, but they screwed it up for themselves. Once again, you have feminism to thank for that. Women have been the most privileged and protected class of people in society aside from young children. Historically, women were the most valuable members of our society because they could give birth. They were indispensable, whereas a single man could repopulate an entire tribe if he needed to, so men were more expendable in the past. This is one of the reasons why historically, wars have been fought and entire cultures have been created to protect women from danger. This is exactly why it's so baffling to me that feminism can even attempt to make the argument that they've been the most oppressed class of people. The opposite is true. It takes a deep lack of gratitude to look back at history and ignore the sacrifices and protections that men have given women. Countless men have given their lives for women and continue to do so to this day. And even though modern women are constantly having a privileged hissy fit, they're still protected in ways they refuse to acknowledge. Today, our infrastructure is maintained by hardworking men doing dangerous jobs just so OnlyFans models can have good lighting for their photo shoots. And it's those same women who will turn around later and say they don't need men. It's childish, naive, and blind.
Yeah, see, the reason why men are not jumping into these fights anymore or jumping to protect women or to help women out is number one, because the majority of these women are claiming that they are strong and independent and that they don't need help from a man. So that's number one. They can, they can handle it themselves is the message that's being sent. That's number one. Number two, why would a man go out and risk his livelihood, his safety, get into fights or do all of these things, go to war for women in countries that don't care about them? Like that's a serious question, right? Why are you going to risk your life? Why are you going to get into these situations and provide for people who don't care about you? And a lot of these girls, especially, the ones in metropolitan areas, right, who were brought up with womanism and going through all of these indoctrination camps, aka education system, right? All of these girls who are brought up with this idea that they can do everything without men, that they don't need a man, when the time gets a little bit hard, all of the complaining comes out about men not helping them. But these individuals don't care about men, right? They're not gratuitous. They're not interested in what the thoughts and feelings of men are, right? It's just about, okay, what can we use men for? Can we get money out of this guy? Can this guy help us? If not, and if he's not attractive, I don't care about him. I don't like him. Okay, so why should men go off and fight for you when you don't care about them? And that applies to governments, that applies to women. And, here we are in the situation that we're currently in.
Chivalry used to mean something. It used to be a code of honor that a man could aspire to. And in the past, it was worth it because you would earn the respect of your peers and the admiration of women. When you were chivalrous, you got rewarded for it. But fast forward to the modern day, men are actively punished for being chivalrous.
Yeah, see, it's not even about being rewarded. Like, no guy expects to solve some of these issues and be financially rewarded for it. A lot of the times, men would do this simply for the fact that, number one, they could help someone else. But if you help someone and they don't even like you, what's the point of helping them? If they're rude to you, if they're not, if they're not at least appreciative, men go where they're appreciated. There's no gratitude for a lot of these services that men used to do. How many videos, guys, have we seen, right, where you'll have a woman literally complaining about men in her room and about how men don't do anything and they're useless to society. Meanwhile, she's recording the damn video on an iPhone, right, in infrastructure that men built. She wouldn't be able to literally complain on the internet as she does without all of the things that men have done. And yet these are the same individuals that expect people to come along, particularly men, to come along and rescue them in these situations. Like, I thought that men were just awful warmongers who were like greedy capitalists and didn't like women.
For example, I once went on a date with a woman who exploded at me for opening the door for her. She was attacking me because she thought I was trying to control her or belittle her, and in case you're wondering, no, I didn't get married to her. It's crazy to me how easily women had it, just for them to turn around and throw it all away. A man used to open the car door for her. He used to walk on the dirty side of the street in case a car splashed both of them. If a woman was in danger, a man was culturally expected to help. Because of our natural upper body strength and other physiological advantages, this made sense. But feminism ruined it anyway. The unchallenged ideology of feminism has successfully managed to destroy these protective privileges in just a couple of decades. Women asked for equality and they got it, but they still aren't happy. This is because they never wanted equality. They just wanted more and more privilege and power. It's never enough. But when we talk about men not helping women anymore, what exactly am I talking about? Firstly, let's talk about the workplace. In the past, it used to be perfectly acceptable for a boss to help a female colleague. It was even considered normal for a male colleague to share a close space with a female colleague in a professional setting. There was nothing wrong with this, and in order to get the job done, it was deemed absolutely necessary. But then came the hashtag #MeToo movement. This is a classic case of throwing out the baby with the bathwater. The #MeToo movement successfully managed to put away some truly terrible men, and credit should be given where it's due. But the fact is, the movement went way overboard. The movement completely changed the way men and women work together. As a result of the movement, countless men were wrongfully accused of sexual harassment. This still happens today in massive numbers. Feminism successfully managed to ruin professional relationships between men and women by making every private interaction a potential sexual harassment case. Men responded by refusing to put themselves in a situation where such an accusation could ever happen. And
see, I brought this up as well on another episode, guys. But yeah, this whole Me Too movement has been very serious, okay? A lot of guys, they straight up don't even want to be in the same room alone with women because they can be accused of ridiculous things like this. This also applies to places like the gym. This is why I don't talk to women at the gym, guys. I don't go near women at the gym unless I absolutely have to, like I need to use a machine or something. Like, and there's sense in that, right? Men will actively avoid women these days because all of a sudden you get labeled the creepy guy or the guy who did something even though you know you absolutely didn't, right? The amount of times, guys, I've been in the gym, right? And I've seen women doing exercises with absolutely horrendous form. I'm not going to go up there and correct them. Hell no. Like, absolutely not. I refuse to be labeled as that dude in the gym who's like creepy and who's going around talking to women, and it's just not happening, right? And it's absolutely disgusting, right? Because you have so many environments now where men used to help women, but we can't anymore. We simply can't because the risk is too high. It's the same thing with marriage, right? You have a lot of dudes who, even if a man wants to have a long-term committed relationship and get married, why should a man do this when he's so heavily penalized for doing so? Or at least there's a good chance of it. Because a man can go out here, he can get married, but guess what? He can also lose all of his things. He can lose his children, right? He can be paying money to a woman who's now going off with another guy. Like, the risk is just too high for a lot of these situations where men have just basically said, yeah, look, I'm not interested. I'm not helping with the bill. I'm not helping out with your fighting situations. I'm not helping out with you at the gym. I'm not helping out at work because this is exactly what you wanted.
And this is why many women are being left to fend for themselves in the workplace. It could have been a warm and welcoming environment for them, but feminism ruined it completely. And now, employers of both genders are slowly starting to hire less women purely because it's an HR disaster waiting to happen. But that's not the only environment where men are refusing to help women. Women are also starting to realize that gyms are becoming more and more dangerous for them.
Yeah, see, I haven't even watched this video. This was the exact same thing I said. Okay, you have dudes who they're not interested in intervening, in helping out with you, especially these women who sit in the gyms and they record themselves, right? Trying to catch out men being quote unquote creepy. Right, you have girls going to the gym, wearing absolutely nothing, recording themselves, and then complaining when some dude looks at them like they're a weirdo because they are acting like a weirdo. It's insane.
Watch me get stuck in the leg press.
You know, I don't think I will. I actually, what's the bet this woman just fully locks out her legs? I'm not, let's skip past this.
Yeah. I heard it. This shit,
Oh, is she gonna get stuck or something? Yeah. No safety rails as well, of course. Doesn't take up. There doesn't seem to be safety rails on this side. But ordinarily, obviously, people with a functioning brain, if it looks like you're going to fail a set, right, or if you're going to go quite heavy, you would obviously set up the safety rails. But she hasn't done that. This is hilarious.
Excuse me.
This is funny. So this dude over here is just straight up ignoring this woman. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Dudes don't want to get involved here because it's a potential mess. You know, the guy can get accused of being creepy, like, and also the helpers might not be appreciated. Like, there's just no incentive for men to go out of their way to help women anymore. And this is absolutely hilarious. She's trying to get this dude's attention over here, but he's just absolutely ignoring her. It's funny, right? Because she has everything set up here. She's got a lifting belt for the squats, right? She seems to know what she's doing, but she just hasn't set up the safety rails. I don't know if this doesn't have safety rails for whatever reason. Maybe it's just one that doesn't. But a lot of gyms have like detachable ones. It looks like, you know, you insert them in the side here. So I seriously don't know what this woman is doing. She's got all the getup of saying, hey, look, I know exactly what I'm doing. But she hasn't even bothered to set up the safety rails. Also, I haven't done squats like this. I don't know. I prefer to just do it with a barbell. None of this padding crap. I don't know what's going on here. Looks like she's got squat shoes as well, I think.
Hey.
This guy's just not having it, is he?
You think you can help me out over here? Yeah.
And then another, so the dude over here was completely ignoring her, or was that this woman? I'm not sure if it was a woman lifting over there. I thought it was a dude.
In the past, it was perfectly normal and risk-free to help a woman in the gym if you saw her in danger. If a woman got herself in trouble with some equipment, you could be sure that running over and helping her would be appreciated. But even this has become a risk of being accused of sexual harassment. Gyms have become far too risky for men to help women. I've talked on this channel at length about how feminism and modern women have essentially ruined gyms, turning them into a toxic environment. Let's think about this for a moment. Imagine you're in a gym where you see a woman stuck in the leg press machine. She's clearly in trouble and she looks to you for help. And let's say you go over and you successfully push the weight off her body. But in order to do this, you had to put yourself in a slightly awkward position above her. You manage to help her, but she seems a little quiet. Later on, you find yourself plastered all over TikTok. It turns out this woman who was struggling in the gym was recording herself at the time. And even though she was in danger, she saw the opportunity to accuse you of sexual harassment and increase her views on social media. And now, just for helping a woman, you ended up with a sexual harassment charge against you. This is the risk so many men are taking when they help a woman in the gym. And this is one of the reasons why many men are choosing to avoid helping women altogether. Now, let's talk about single mothers for a moment. Feminism successfully created a society where single motherhood is on the rise. It doesn't even matter that single mothers consistently express how difficult their lives are. Feminism loves using single mothers as a symbol of defiance against the patriarchy. But here's something that's happening more and more. Single mothers are regretting their decisions. They drank the Kool-Aid and believe they could do everything themselves. They listened to feminism and decided to make themselves into strong, independent women who didn't need men. For decades, modern women told men they simply aren't needed anymore. A woman can work a full-time job and support her children happily, but this was a complete lie. And now, men are far more reluctant to get into a relationship with a single mother. I don't recommend it in the slightest for countless reasons. But men are realizing that many single mothers are just looking for a man to bail them out. They had a Chad's baby and now they just want a man to come in and save her from her own terrible choices. But men are refusing to be a walking ATM for a woman who spent her entire adult life pushing men away and ridiculing them while claiming to be a boss babe who doesn't need a man. You asked for equality, ladies, and this is what you got. It's not men's fault, but you didn't consider the potential outcomes of your decisions. It's called being an adult. But perhaps the most tragic way that men are helping women anymore is in public. If a woman is attacked or assaulted, then we see the results of this whole equality narrative. For decades, feminism has pushed the equality narrative that women can take care of themselves and men aren't needed. Chivalry.
I love how society, by the way, like a lot of these women, they treat it as though it's super unfair. You know, oh, how come men aren't helping me? How come, you know, if I get into a fight, how come men aren't jumping to my defense? How come men aren't paying my bills or looking after me? But what they fail to realize as well is this is super funny because this is how men have been treated the whole damn time. Like if you're a dude and you get into a fight with another guy, no woman is going to step in and solve the problem for you, right? If you're a dude and you're broke, unless you're like an absolute model, right? No woman, and even then, no woman's going to step in and want to help with your finances. No girl is going to give you like a place to stay. If you're a dude and you're single and you're struggling to date, you know, a lot of girls are just going to straight up ignore you. Okay, but when it happens to women, when it happens the other way around, it becomes like this huge big thing where men have to be shamed into doing that exact thing, right? So if a man doesn't jump in and solve a fight, if a man doesn't pay a bill, if a man doesn't go to war, okay, if a man doesn't X, Y, Z, then he's the problem. Never mind the fact that, by the way, this was how men were treated the whole damn time. You know, there's no girls out here who are doing all of the heavy lifting in the chivalry and dating, right? You don't see women out here buying men drinks, maybe for like an absolute giga chad, right? Or the dude that they're really trying to chase. But the other 99% of men, oh, hell no. Guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, remember to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.